Hi, my name's Dan. Welcome to Lesson 2 of Fusion 101. This lesson will take a deeper dive into the different types of nodes you have access to, and then end with making our first basic composition inside of Fusion. In the last session we saw these nodes grouped by colour. Let's take a look at each group and how they act differently in the node flow. First up, we have generator nodes. These nodes are special because they don't require an input to function. They essentially create something from nothing. The background node creates a solid colour, whilst the text node creates text. We can use these as well as media in or loader nodes as the basis for our canvas or comp. And this is where the first and probably main difference comes inside of the Fusion Studio as opposed to Resolve. Fusion Studio standalone will use loaders and savers instead of the media in and media out you're probably used to in the Resolve Fusion page. They work almost identically, so you don't really need to worry too much. Just don't waste your time looking for media in or media out nodes in the Fusion standalone, and vice versa with the loader nodes in Resolve. The next group are the image editor nodes. These take the input from another node and edit it in some way. Whether it's tweaking colours, blurring, adding contrast or keying, these all require an input to function. The next group we looked at a little bit in the first session are the utility nodes. These nodes are what you use to affect the merging or controlling of image. They have more utilitarian usage opposed to the stylistic effects of the image editor style nodes. Next up we have masks. These are nodes that are mostly used to select parts of an image to be visible or invisible inside the comp. They would be used for hiding parts of a node flow or animated to expose a part of the node flow. Those aren't the only uses, but those are what they're mainly used for. Then, finally, we have the 3D tools. These won't be touched in this tutorial, but they are tools that you use to create anything inside of the Fusion 3D render engine, like particles or shape primitives. It's a little advanced for where we are now, but maybe in a later tutorial we'll look at those 3D tools. So now we have the fundamental knowledge of how nodes differ from each other or work together. Let's use that knowledge to create a very basic composition. Let's take a generator node like a background and another generator like text, and we want to merge these two together so we've got a background with some text on top of it. And we're going to use a merge node for that. Now you may be confused with all the colours around each node, but it's quite easy to understand. The grey square is always the output. This will be the point which sends information out of the node, whether to another node or to the media out. The yellow, green and blue all have arrows pointing inwards, which means that they're inputs. And the yellow is normally your main input or your background, and the green is your foreground on a merge. The blue arrows are always masks. So let's connect these together. The background output I'm going to drag to the merge, and that will put it in the background. The text I'm going to add to the foreground, but nothing's happened. That's because we're not looking at this merge in a viewer. So let's load that into viewer 2. But we also still can't see much. So let's go into the inspector and change the color of the background to maybe a nice blue. And the text we'll write hello world, and we are getting exactly what we expected. The background node is the background and the text is the foreground, and we've created our first very basic composition in Fusion. Now using this knowledge we could take it a little step further. Let's say we want to add a vignette. I'm going to take another generator, a background, and then let's start using the mask input to see how that works. I'm going to bring out an elliptical mask, and I'm going to take the output of the elliptical mask and put it into the mask of the background. Again, we don't see anything happen, so let's load it into a viewer. The ellipse is the mask, and then it's masking out the black background. But this isn't exactly what we want for a vignette. So let's come over here in the ellipse mask we're going to make it wide and a little bit higher, and we're going to soften the edges, and then we're going to invert it. Now all of that was done inside the inspector. And again, how would we add this to what's already there? That's using a merge node. I'm going to bring in a merge node, drag this merge into the background, and then this merge into the foreground, and nothing happens again because we don't have it loaded into the viewer. So I'm going to click the merge, load it into a viewer, and we're going to see that exactly what we were expecting. In this merge though, we can do a couple of things. We could change the apply mode, so we can change it to lighten, we can change it to loads of different things. If you've ever used a photo editing software, then this is exactly the same. You can also change the opacity by blending it into the original, and then we have a very basic vignette. So there we have it. This is our first composition inside Fusion. We've learned about how nodes react with each other and how different nodes need different things to exist. Join me in the next lesson where we'll look at incorporating point tracking data with video footage for a more advanced workflow. My name's Dan. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll catch you in the next one.